Mrs. Squirrel and the Golden Nuts. In the middle of a dense forest lived Mrs. Squirrel, known for her kindness and wisdom. One day, news of the golden nuts that bring good luck reached the forest. Golden nuts? Never heard of them. Mrs. Squirrel was surprised. The old oak told her a legend. Nuts are hidden where the heart of the forest beats strongest. I have to find them. The forest really needs happiness and harmony, decided Mrs. Squirrel. She packed a small backpack and hit the road. The first stop was a clearing where the mischievous bunnies lived. Golden nuts. Maybe you'll find them by the stream behind the hill, the bunnies suggested. At the stream, Mrs. Squirrel met a fish with silver scales. The golden nuts? I heard that they are where the sun doesn't shine, said the fish. This was a valuable tip. The squirrel headed towards the dark forest. In the forest, she met an owl sleeping on a branch. The golden nuts? You will find them where thousands of trees rustle, the owl whispered. Mrs. Squirrel was getting closer, but she began to be afraid. The forest was dark and full of shadows. Suddenly, a hedgehog jumped out of the bushes. Don't be afraid. I will guide you through this darkness. Together, they reached the place where the forest was the thickest and most mysterious. This must be the heart of the forest, thought Mrs. Squirrel. The golden nuts were lying on the ground, shining in the moonlight. I found them, she exclaimed with delight. But suddenly a raven appeared. Not so fast, little squirrel. You must solve the riddle to get the golden nut, said the raven. What is more precious in the forest than gold, and when shared among all, it never ends? Mrs. Squirrel thought for a while. It's friendship and kindness, she exclaimed. The raven spread its wings. You are right. The golden nut is yours. Mrs. Squirrel carefully took the nut and headed back home. Along the way, she handed out ordinary nuts to the animals she met that helped her on her journey. When she returned to the clearing, the forest was filled with a bright light. The golden nut brought happiness to all creatures. From then on, Mrs. Squirrel was loved even more for her kindness and courage. See you next time.